Keisha Kirschbaum, and
Hi, this is Luoma Durand.
we're here to give you an update on the Barrier and Access Solutions Committee, otherwise known as the BASC. So, as you know, in late 2015, the Workforce Board established a Standing Accessibility Committee that would work with similar standing committees at the 12 WDCs. This is, to date, the only standing committee the Workforce Board has established. This is a major milestone for our populations with barriers and those who serve and advocate for them. The establishment of this committee, coupled with the Next Generation Performance Accountability System, Dave Wallace talked about that at the last board meeting, are the most significant communication of the board's commitment to improving economic outcomes for our most disadvantaged populations. And those actions say that the board is willing to hold itself accountable for these system improvements. A huge thank you. So this standing committee, the BASC, was tasked with implementing the TAP's plans, strategies to improve accessibility for focused populations who face barriers in the system. We thought this was a good point in our progress to let you know what we've been doing on your behalf and get your feedback and input on eradicating barriers. Our goal is to have a set of recommendations to you by late summer or early fall about the operating parameters and processes of this permanent standing committee and the composition of the committee.
So what have we learned so far? Every local WDC that we have connected with we feel is clearly committed to the goals of the BASC and the barrier removal for these populations. And we're learning so many things about what's going on in the local areas. So many creative partnerships, projects happening at the local level. And one of the really important things that they're doing at the local level is outreach to these populations. So these populations might not have been coming to their local one-stops and other programs, but the local WDCs really care about figuring out why that's not happening and reaching out and going out to other organizations that are working with them and discovering why aren't these populations using the system and what opportunities are there for changing that. So the other thing we're learning is that each WDC is really unique in its approach, very unique in its approach. That's at the local level, and the listening tours have been very, very, very valuable. At the state level BASC meetings, we're learning a lot from consumers and providers about what barriers the system presents to these populations. So there's a lot of crossover actually, and there are a lot of emerging themes that we can learn from as a system. For example, we've heard from people speaking from the tribes and people speaking for veterans and people speaking for people with disabilities. And so there are crossover themes that would make our system more accessible. So for example, when someone's walking through the door, that person may be coming from another culture of circumstances, and we need to meet them where they're at. So, for example, with veterans, we realize that they might be coming from the language of the military, and they might need help translating their work experience into the language that businesses in the civilian population understand. Or they might need services taken to them on the base. For tribal members, they might be uncomfortable. They might be intimidated walking into one of our programs. And if somebody could just come around the desk and greet them in a different way or make eye contact or not, or offer them water, that would be good. Or how about our people with disabilities greeted? So these experiences connect and overlap. And this leads to the issue of cultural competency, which is what the WDCs have been saying that they really want us to help them with from the statewide level in terms of training for their frontline workers. And so that's what we're looking for. So where are we headed?
So far, we have created a communications work group to look at how the local access advisory committees and the statewide BAS can mutually enhance all of our efforts at both levels. And we started an environmental scan of WorkSource Center's use of wireless access. So who has wireless access and where? We want to identify the gaps so that we can focus resources and solutions.
And we definitely want to help leverage resources for professional development, especially around cultural competency. And we want to also measure and know that what we're doing, why we're doing it, is having an impact on these focused populations. And so we're asking some important questions right now.
So the questions are the focus populations getting better access to the WorkSource system? How will we know this? How will we know if barriers are being removed?
And how will we know if WIO programs not only welcome these populations, but how do we support them throughout their participation in our programs while they're participating and before they exit? We want our system to become flexible enough to deal with the reality of the diversity of Washington citizens.
So for additional information on the Barrier Access Solutions Committee, please check out the PowerPoint. And thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you at the March 8th board meeting.